Welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Hello. There we go. There's the camera. Today we have the wonderful Nick Hunter with us. Nick is one of our senior engineers at RCC. He's worked for Apple before for many years. We're very lucky to have him. He's a UI UX expert and also covers a lot of really cool things on how basically to take FileMaker and make it do things you didn't think it could. So it's great having him on. We're currently in the middle of a very cool series. We've got a lot of really good feedback about this series. The existing FileMaker file design and modernization workshop. Basically, we're doing a series where people send us files if their files are in need of assistance. Nick will look it over, determine what's interesting, talk to you about it, and basically do a makeover live on TV. Something I'm going to clarify real quick. When we're saying we'll give you back the file, we're saying the person who submitted the file gets the file back. We had some, I understand how that could be confusing. If we had some interesting emails, ask us to send them Ken's file. This is Ken's file. He's one of our live stream people. The file belongs to him. He has been gracious enough to give it to Nick so we can Nick can work over it on television and discuss and stream and prove it so you guys can watch him do it live so you get that information. But there is no free sample file for this series. As a result, Ken will get his own file back, and if you submit your file and it's done live, he will give you your file back after it's done, but we are not distributing that file to the public. So just putting that out there.
But they could talk to me and we could work something out.
Or you can send an email to Ken or reach out in Discord, go hey Ken, that file of yours is now pretty slick. But yes, so we're not handing that out for free. We're not allowed to. It's not ours. If you have a file that you think is in need of assistance, please send it to us. This is a really cool series. Nick would like to do more of these. We're doing 9 days on Ken's file. If you're oh, but my file is such a wreck. I hate to say it, the more of a wreck it is, the better. I'm not trying to be insulting. FileMaker files routinely get out of control as you add things to them and everything sort of spins. You're oh, I don't know what happened. We've had some people send in some really legitimately beautiful files. They're wonderful. Thank you so much for sending them to us. We can't use them because they're really good. So, not that Ken's file is bad, but Ken's file has more obvious things that might need assistance for it. So
it just suffers from feature creep.
Exactly.
And learning things over the years, and then you have to go back and fix something. So it's been great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we love having. Thank you so much for sending it to us. But yes, please send in your file. I know I've seen a couple of comments oh, I want to send my file, but it's so bad. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we want bad stuff. we love the bad stuff.
So that's good for this series. So send it to us at support@rcconsulting.com. Also, real quick, we have 2 Monkey Bread plugin days. Please pop up to see Christian Schmidt do all of his cool stuff with his plugin. It's one of the only plugins that RCC ever. We don't really recommend a lot of plugins. This is one of the ones that we do. It's a good plugin. Christian Schmidt's a great presenter. He's doing image editing and web viewer stuff. So for those functions for his stuff. So pop in for that. With all of that being said, Nick, what are we doing today?
Okay, so we continue the journey where we have this nice file of from Ken, and sorry, I was opening files in the same time I'm speaking. So yeah, so we do a workshop. So here what we do in this series, right? So we take a file that is existing for a long time, right? So for years, decades, right? And so we take it and we, component by component, side by side, under, our object by object and feature by feature, we rebuild it, right? So in this series, we learn methodologies. We're going to learn methodology of work, right? We're going to learn techniques, design, and decision maker. Right. So why we take this decision and not another, right? So that's the most interesting part of that series, because most of the time we don't know, so we go to what we know and we use the same thing, right? So for example, last time I was talking to somebody, he said, oh yeah, I'm not doing auto entry calculation. I'm doing only set fields with scripts. And I said, I bet with you that your file is super, super, super slow. And he said, I cannot share it on server. If I share on server, it's so slow that I can't even open it. You know, it's that the reason, right? The reason is why, because it doesn't want to use the right tool for the right task, okay? And to apply the right gesture to avoid destroying everything, right? So that's what we're going to learn with this series. So it's why we need to do that and why what we could avoid, right? Because the decision maker, it's based on multiple criteria, right? So the decision maker, why we need to do this and why we don't do that, right? So mostly what will make the decision maker will be the numbers, you know, the number. Let me explain. That's a discussion I had with a customer of mine yesterday night. The number, how many records that we have, right? Because let's say you have related records from you have one record and you have related records. But on the other side, on the related record, you have no more than 10 records. You cannot have more than this. Okay, so you can use, you know, FileMaker will forgive you if you don't use the right way, right? But if on the other side you have hundreds records, that eliminates a lot of forgiveness, right? And if you have 1,000 records on the other side, that eliminates pretty much all of your forgiveness. And if you have 10,000 records on the other side, that you have one choice, doing the right thing, right? So this is why I'm saying when you have a file on server versus a file on your hard drive, when you have numbers, you know, how many records, how many users are. So this is what drives the decision, right? So FileMaker has a lot of forgiveness, right? A lot of forgiveness. You can do a lot of mistakes and not even know that you're doing a mistake, right? But when your file grow, right, then you have a big problem because it was good at the beginning, and now that you have millions of records on the other side, everything collapses, right? So that's what we're going to learn here, right? But with a very simple file that we have here, but very good, very interesting. There's a lot of things to do, statuses, related records. That's everything we need to learn and have fun, okay? So let me share my screen here right quick. And so this is the file we have, and this is what we try to get, right? So we try to move from this to this, right? So yesterday we learned, right, how to make great statuses, okay? So we learned this technique. We have two fields. One field return a number, the other one return a text. The text is editable in multiple ways. So we learned to do that with value list, right? So I encourage you to watch the webinar from yesterday if you didn't watch it, and to learn about this. But we learn also this technique of the trigger, right? So I want to come back a little bit on this technique of the trigger. What a trigger, okay? It's for the auto entry calculation, because we don't want to have stored or unstored calculation. We don't want that, you know? We want to have only auto entry calculations, okay? But there's a problem with the auto entry calculation, and try to be, you know, to explain, you know, in a very simple manner. When you have an auto entry calculation, right? And you have, for example, here you have one field, right? When you modify that field, right? The field that is pointing to, that means in the calc, you're pointing to fields, okay? You're pointing to fields. When you have one field, when you modify one field of the calculation inside, that will trigger the calc, okay? if I in that case, if I modify this, right? If I do a modification, it will immediately try to do that. It will try to evaluate that calculation. But there's a problem. There's two problems. First, imagine this. It's a field, related field, right? Let's say it's a related field. That means I am in one table and I'm modifying a field, and in the calculation. So this field, this calculation here, the AAA member text, is inside the pilot table, and the field that I have in the calculation is from a related table, right? Even though I'm modifying that field, that won't trigger the auto entry calculation. It won't do it. Modifying the field on the other side won't trigger this. So that's why so many people are confused with this, right? Because they say, oh, it never worked for me. Yeah. And that's another reason why this auto entry calculation won't work, is when you use, for example, this type of thing. If gets account name, equal admin says 1 or the 1 0. If you do this, it will never trigger, never, because you use a function. So you need the auto entry will only happen at the creation of a record. So in that case, or the related field, those two cases, that calculation will be triggered, will be evaluated only when you create a new record. When you create a new record, boom, it will try to analyze the get account name, see if it's admin, and put 1. Okay? So what can we do to make sure that those auto entry calculations are triggered each time you want it? Not when FileMaker wants it, but when you want it, right? This is a technique. We learn, I just explained to you that the auto entry calculation will be triggered if there's at least one field in the calculation that is on the same table of the calculation and modified. So let's create one field that has only that purpose. The purpose of that field is to be included inside the calculation and to be modified when you want it, and then that field will trigger all the auto entry calculation that refer to that field. So that field we are going to create has only one purpose: evaluate all the auto entry calculations. So how we do that? Because we don't want to, how I can put a field in a calculation without bothering me, bothering me. Because if I put a field here, how I can include the field here without bothering me, without bothering my calculation, without interrupting my calculation, disrupting my calculation, and at the same time doing the job I want the field to do? Then we need to use the let statements. Okay. So the let statement. So Marge, we have a let statement or webinars, and we have a lot of, on that topic. So what we do, not going to explain the let statement, but we use the let, and then we say, we declare a statement. Okay, I'm declaring that I have a statement that is the statement name trigger, and I want to use this field as a trigger. So now that I have this in the let statements, right, I don't even have to refer to that statement. It's just there. It's landing there. It's sitting there, right? It's sitting there. It doesn't bother absolutely nothing. I don't even call that statement in anything in the calc. I don't call it. I just put it there. It sits there. It sits there on the side, right? But now that I have this in that spot, each time I'm going to modify that field, that will trigger that calculation. Just I need to modify that field and boom, I get all my auto entries to be triggered, all of them. All the auto entry calculation in that table that points to that field will be triggered automatically. So now we have like a magic wand. We can just say set field trigger, boom. All the auto entries are triggered. Now, if you have 10,000 records and you want to find those 10,000 records and you want to trigger all the auto entry calculation for that 10,000 records, go search and do replace trigger, bam. And all the 10,000 records you have in the found set, all your found set will be updated. All that will trigger all the auto entry calculation. Good news, that technique works extremely well when performed on server. So that means you can say, okay, you know what? I want to update all my auto entries for my records, right? So server, go to that layout, retrieve the records I want, and replace on server. You don't even feel it. You don't even see it. And on server, that will happen at the speed of light. Okay? So that's why now we have some fields that points to, we have many fields that points to the trigger. We have this field, right? This field that points to that I have the trigger here. We have all the statuses, I bet. Yeah. I have a statuses here. I have a status pilot order. We have the trigger, right? I have the status pilot. I have the trigger. Oh, I don't. I need to put it. Oh, I don't need that. Yeah, because here we have a redundant, right? We have a redundant stuff. That means that field, right, points to that field, right? And that field is triggered by the trigger. So when that field will be changed, automatically that will trigger this. So I don't need a trigger, because if I put the trigger here, guess what happened? That calculation will get evaluated 2 times in a row. Once with the trigger and the other one with this. So we don't want that to happen. Okay. So we have many fields. So, but now I say, okay, how I can trigger my stuff. So let's say I have this layout here. I modify stuff, and I want my calc to trigger, right? So we have, you know, the god of Claris invented something for us, right? So let's create a folder here, and we call that our pilots. Okay. Inside that folder, we're putting another folder named triggered, and inside this we're going to put a trigger. Okay. So let's put a name on the trigger. So let's start with 100 or like this, for example. That's a trigger. Okay. It's the trigger. What's doing? On record commit. Right? So on record commit, what I'm doing, you know, so where this on record commit belongs, it belongs to pilots. Okay. That is the trigger for the on record commits for pilots. And that's what do. Set fields, my trigger, and I use for that the get timestamp. Because that, as I explained yesterday, give me an indication. Tells me the last time I update that with the time. the date and time. That helps for debugging, to know if the thing happened, when it happened, if it happened, right? And then gives you an indication. Sometimes, okay, my calculation doesn't trigger, I don't know why, so, oh, that's why, because you can see by the date, oh, I just committed and it didn't trigger, so, oh, maybe you break something, maybe, so it tells you an indication. That's why I'm using the timestamp. So I hope the trigger is a trigger timestamp. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but it cannot be it cannot be a global. That cannot be a global. With the global, it doesn't work. The trigger cannot be a global. It cannot. Otherwise, it won't do the job. It cannot do the job. The trigger needs to be a real file to do the replace when you have a found set, right? So this trigger needs to be a field, not a global, a real field. Okay. Otherwise, he won't do anything. It won't do his job, right? So here I'm doing this. So I'm setting this. So now just I have to attach this, just have to attach this on record commits trigger, right? 1050. So now, each time I'm going to commit that record, let's put what field can we use to modify the name, right?
It would be one of the other statuses, like a valid certificate or a valid flight review, or
where can I find it here? We can, anything. So what
that would commit it, yeah.
So what are the other? Oh, that's the log. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Let's put one of those. Okay, let's put one of those, and okay. So let's put one of those, and let's remove those triggers. So you can remove triggers at once. So I can select all of those. So here I'm going to give you a shortcut and stuff like that. Instead of selecting one, go there, set trigger. Okay, instead of doing this, you select all, and you can do that, right? Or that's a better way. If you double click on the field, you edit the field and you can specify the field. But if you do that with Alt, it goes to the triggers. Double click normal, you edit you specify the field. With Alt or Control, I don't know. On PC I don't know. I don't know on PC but on Mac it's Command. But on PC, Alt, I don't know. Find it. It's Control or Alt, on PC, because we don't have the command on PC. But here, right, you can double click with the key pressed on the keyboard, and then you edit the triggers directly. So, and you can do this, select all, double click on one, and then you can undo, and boom, no more triggers, right? So I want to make sure I can edit those fields. Yes. So here what happened. So I'm editing this, I'm editing this, and when I press a commit, boom, I have this committing. If I change, again, boom, it changed. When I change 4, boom, it changed, right? So now we have the trigger attached to a non-commit. So we will have always something, right, to, our updates. When we do a change, any change, that will update the trigger, right? So that's a simple way, right? And because you will see in later that we need to take care of things. but that's the price to pay for performance, right? So there's many ways to make sure that always the calculation are triggered. Okay, it's very simple, and I'm going to explain to you all this, okay, as we go, right? But this is a foundation on how we use our triggers, right, on the layout. So so far, do we have any question? And if we have, we can. If we don't, we can move on.
We have questions. Fields declared pertaining from a different table won't be updated? Question mark.
Yes, but you need to take care of it. So that will be when we will do the other table, because we have two main tables in that demonstration. We have the pilots and we have the balloon. When we will go to the balloon and we do modifications, the on commit on the balloon will also do a set field to the pilots. So that's easy. Like here, I will do the same. When I will do that, right? I will show you how easy it is to do that, right? But today it's a little bit too early. So that's the foundation, but everything will be updated. Everything will be updated, right? And I'm going to show you the two techniques I'm using, right? And then and I'm going to show you that there's one technique with some forgiveness and one technique when you don't have forgiveness, okay? When you don't have the choice of the forgiveness, right? So I will show you the two techniques, right? Don't worry, we'll have time, and if we have to put some time, we're going to put more time, because I think that's interesting. So do we have another one?
Yes. Yesterday, we used a field to create the status display for the master detail portal.
Yes.
This makes sense, but requires the status display info to be passed from the server. If the layout already gets all of the data that is used to create the display field, would it be better to have the client calculate the status display example in a button calculation?
But that's what we do, is that the server is not doing anything. That the client doing it. The server is not doing it. It's an auto entry calculation. So auto entry calculation happen on clients. So it's an auto entry calculation. So it happened on clients. I'm not sure I understand the question, but the status is calculated here on the clients. It's an auto entry calculation. Nothing happened on server. Nothing here. At that point, nothing. So do we have another one?
Yes, sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I used the sum function in auto entry calculation. Didn't have to declare in the modified field the trigger. Is that an exception?
Yeah, so sometime when you don't need a trigger. Sometimes you want another field, right, to be the trigger of another calc, right? I'm using that technique when I want to blank a field, right? Let me explain. I have a good demo for you. I want, each time I'm modifying the last name, each time I'm modifying the first name, I want the last name to blank. For example, if I change the first name, I want that to blank automatically. Okay. So that's what I want. So I'm going to the last name, the name last. Okay. Name last. I already have an auto entry calculation here, but that the text remove or case exact self. Okay, yeah, we can put that over. And I'm saying, let the trigger is the name first. And what does auto entry calculation do? This. So now, when I have this, right? Look what happened. So let's go to that. I'm putting here Nick, and I'm putting here enter. Okay. So far, so good. I have Nick Hunter. I have my. Oh, that's nice. I want to copy this. All the trees. Ha. Okay. I have Nick. If I change this to Nicholas, boom, blank. So you can use whichever fields to trigger the CAG. So so you imagine how cool this is to blank a field? I know you guys, you use that. Triggers, the trigger scripts, that blank or, on save or on validate, whatever you want to use. That's piece of crap, So you can have a trigger that do that, right? So you know what I mean? So you can point to any fields to be a trigger. Any fields in the local table can trigger an auto entry calculation of the same local table. You can do that, right? So I'm using a field as a universal trigger, like a button, the validation button, I have the script, I have a field that has this purpose, but you can use any field that blank the other one, right? So if I change this to Nick, bam, it goes away. So that's cool, right? So yeah, you can have, let's remove this, name last. So you can have, right, this in your stuff, right? And you can put, for example, I don't know, you can have something like this if you want to put to use the same example here. So let's say on here, I'm going to put back, going to comment this, and I'm going to put back let. So I have a trigger. It's equal the name first, okay? And I want, for example, to upper self, right? So that's something I'm using, right? That's something I'm using. So it's an example, right? Or upper or I don't know, italic. No, it's oblique. It's something like oblique. No. Oh yeah, I have a custom function for that, but it's okay. So let's put the upper. Okay, let's put the upper. Upper will capitalize the text. Okay. So the same to use the same technique here. So if I change this, boom, right? So you can use function, you can point to self, right? Using a trigger. So you have another field triggering, and then you have the current field with self, right? That you can change the content of the self, right? You understand? So it's super powerful because it's endless, it's endless what you can do here. Okay. So the triggers, so we have our trigger, the field that have this function, and any field can become a trigger for another one or for multiple ones, right? So if you have another question, otherwise we can just move on.
One last one. Your
Yes?
trigger, can we give another name, or should be the name trigger?
You can name what you want. I like my, it's I love to give a prefix on my fields because that gives me an indication. That's something. So all my names, so we can talk about the naming convention a little bit if you want. All the field of my name. So I have the most important field here, field that are IDs and links, relationship field used in calculation, but they have nothing to do with data. They have nothing to do with my current data, like name, first name, last name. I use those names. So I have links. So what are links? There's stuff I put there inside that field, but they're not IDs. Otherwise, I have the ID. I have the IDF. The ID foreign, right? And I have the parent ID, right? That I name like this, So I put a double underscore to make sure that the parent ID of that table is always on the top. Always, Then you can do this when you are in a calculation, right? You can just, when you look for, like when you do this, top, you select always on top, always the parent key on top. Then you can pick it immediately, right? And then I use link for things that I'm putting inside, right? But they're not ID. They can be ID, but sometimes not. So I put link. Link, why? Because they're used in relationship. So those are used in relationship. Those are tags. What do I call tag? Okay. A tag, right, is a Boolean, 1, 0. Active, yes, no. LDLO, yes, no. 1, 0. 1, 0, 1, 0. So all of those tags, they should return 1 or 0, right? And no, yes, and no. We're going to talk about this also, right? And then we have the trigger, right? We have the trigger. So I know, because sometimes I have many triggers. I have the trigger 1. I can have the trigger 2, right? And I can have the trigger debug. Haha. Well, I have a trigger debug. So I have trigger 1, trigger 2. So sometimes you want to trigger some of the calculation, but not all. Sometimes you want to trigger the other half of the calculation, but not the first half. Sometimes you want to trigger all. So you trigger 1 and 2, right? So you have flexibility. You say, oh, I want to trigger only this. I don't need to trigger all of those, right? And then you have the debug. But the debug is the one you put when you want to do some testing, and the one you use to do tests. That let's say, okay, I'm working on that field. I want to trigger. I'm doing tests. I'm building scripts, but I don't want to trigger all my auto entry calculation all the time. I know they work. I debug them. I want to focus on this one. So you want something fast. So you use a debug, and then you attach the debug to the one you're working on the calculation you're working on, or the 2, 3, 5 field you're working on, and you trigger only this one. Then you leave alone those. And when you do your testing on, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 records, you don't have to wait all the time, that the thing to happen, right? And you don't have to do your testing on server, because it's faster, so you can do it locally. And then when it's done, you say, okay, now it's working, I'm putting that on server. You know what I mean? So you switch to a 1 or 2, you know what I mean? So that's why I have a trigger. I have a debug for my testing, right? So this is what I'm using. So let's move on a little bit. So now let's continue. So pretty much we took care of this side here, right? I want to make a search. So let's talk about the search. We have multiple searches in FileMaker, right? We have the find mode, right? Which we are going to talk about that next week or sometime. We have the find mode, right? And we have the quick search. The quick search here we have. But I want my own quick search. I don't want the quick search, the quick find from FileMaker. I want my own. I don't want, because at the end, we are going to hide this, right? We are going to hide this box here. And I don't want that box. That box sucks. I don't want it, right? I want my own, okay? My own that works and do all my stuff. I want my own box, okay? So I want my own quick find, okay? The quick find has a problem. Let me explain. So let's go. Okay, a problem, something you need to take care of. Otherwise, use more than screwed. It starts with a F, but I cannot pronounce it. The boss can say that, I cannot. So I'm using the screw word. So what can screw you totally when you use a quick find? If somewhere in your layout, you have a field, right? Like a related field, and you include this in your quick find. If you do this, so let's say you include all of those fields in quick find, right? Then your quick find will be slow to death because it's going to do a search on related records. And that, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to happen. Even on real search, you don't want that to happen. There's other technique for that, okay? So, of course, you remember what I told you at the beginning. I told you the number is going to drive the decision. If here you only have 10 records, 15 records, that's fine. You're okay, you're good. But if you have 1,000 records and you do the quick find here, you're more than screwed. You're dead. Okay. So how you know something happened like this? So you go to the view, you say show, and you say, okay, I want to see the quick find. So now you have a badge showing you a magnifier. But here you have two types of magnifier. You have the green one. That's okay. That's fine. Green is good, right? Remember, I told you that at the beginning of the webinar. Good. Green is good. Orange, cautious. And FileMaker tell you that field is searchable via quick find. Okay, that's what it says also on the green one. But here it says, whoa. Search might take a while, right? They cover themselves, FileMaker. They don't want to make that faster. No, they tell you that can be slow, pretty much. Pretty much that you can screw yourself. So you don't want anything of those things activated in the layout. So in that layout, in that part, in that side of the layout, you want none selected. Even this one, no. This one, no. This one, no. None on that side of the layout. So that's easy. You double click here, because this is, you look, okay, do I have a magnifier? No. If you see a magnifier, right, you remove it. That's it, right? So you go to the next one and you check. I have no magnifier. You check. Do I have a magnifier? No. You check. So pretty much, you make sure that you have no magnifier on any. See, I found one, and an orange one, which is bad. Nick, bad boy. So you make sure you have none, okay? On the popovers here. So I found one. I didn't even know, right? So here we don't have, make sure we don't have a magnifier nowhere, right? So you visit your layout and you look for a magnifier somewhere. and so here I have none. You look, no, I have none. This is clean, So all of those things now are cleaned, right? So you can look this, you look this, do I have, I have one, right? Boom, need to remove it, right? So you do this, so you visit your stuff. I know that I have many things here, so I know I'm visiting my own stuff. So here I have another one here. So I remove it, right? So you do a visit like this, you make sure you have none, right? So I have another one here, I have another slide here, make sure I don't have, I have here, of course, because it's a duplication of the same thing. So I duplicated my mistake, right? So I have one here, one here, one here. I want to remove it, right? So you do that. So it's good because I'm fixing my own problems live in front of you, right? I have one here, right? Here, I remove this.
It's like there's one on the picture
Here.
icon.
Right there. Yeah. But that one has a little impact, but it's it can screw effectively because it's a number. So see, and Ken saw one that I didn't see. So you need to do that, but it's okay. You do it once, and here I might have some. No, I cleaned it. So this is clean, So you need to visit your layouts, right? None. So you continue the visits. Here I have none. I'm okay. Here, I have plenty. Yeah, because that I just put that is not done. I'm working on this. Okay, so okay, we're pretty good. We good. I have nothing that's maybe I can have here because this is my testing and it's my only me I can I can see that, right? Me and the customer, but user cannot see that. I'm looking here. If I don't have, I don't. Okay, so we're pretty good, but now we talk about the thing. If you have also that side is clean, super clean. Maybe I can check on this one because I might have. Yeah, see, here I have here. I just remember, right? So now I'm clean. Now I'm clean. The filter, those are global, so we cannot have. Okay, so we're good. So now, but the quick find. If you have a field, that is outside the in the explicit area, this one that we call explicit area is this. Okay, it's not on the layout. It's not on the displayed side of the layout, right? It's outside, but quick find will use that if you put that. It will go. So you need to see if the garbage you have there, right? So you need to make sure you clean up the garbage because otherwise, right, you can have something like this, right? So here, I need to keep that here because I'm working on, but I need to make sure that my garbage on the side doesn't have a bad quick find there too, because quick find will use that as well, even though it's not displaying. But we can use that for our own advantage, right? Why? Because quick find, do not delete. I put there, right, all the fields I need for my quick find. Let me explain. I want this to perform on certain fields, not all. More you add fields, more you charge the weight, right? So you don't want to do the quick find on every single field of this layout. You want the quick find to remain quick. Otherwise, it's a slow find, right? Or very slow find, or screwed to the death find, but no quick, right? So that's what you need. You need to make sure. And I don't want to, to navigate inside this. I know this one clean. So I put there all the file I want, and I can see them. And sometimes I'm adding one. So I want to search on the parcel info display, right? Because I want to search, right, for example, on all the parcel, on all this field, because on this field, I have this available, this available, this available, and this available. So if I point to that field, because that's a field, if I point to that field, okay, I will search in one field, I will search on all those data. So it's good because it will be faster than searching for all those individual fields. Then I want the contact names, the site name, the tags, and I want the UUID parcel and the UUID router, the web router, and the parcel number. Why? Why I want to search on those? Why I want to search on those? Because when I'm doing, I'm using this and I'm doing my own. So contact name and that obvious why we want this, right? What we want contact name. It's more than obvious why we want that, right? So, but sometime, I said, okay, I want to, I want to search on the parcel, right? I want the parcel number, right? So upon parcel number, boom, I'm going to get the parcel number, only that parcel number, right? So I can search, boom, by parcel number. So, or by UUID. Sometime, I'm there, let's collect the UUID on this, our current parcel ID. Do I have it? Yeah. So I have the UUID here, and so I have plenty of record. I'm here, right? And I want that. That for my own because I'm a developer. So I want that available. I want to have that available here, so I have it. So it's going to search only for that parcel ID. So that works, right? So you add those fields on the side, right? On the side. So that's how the quick find works. Use that methodology. Put on outside. You put a duplication of the field you have here. You put it twice. It's okay, but this field will be used for the quick find, and you can see, you can see it, right? So, do we have any questions so far from that?
Nope. Just comments that they didn't know that you could draw the dotted line around a box. So
you can drop the
dotted line right here on the screen at the moment. They didn't know that you could do that.
Oh, you didn't know you can draw this? Yeah, here. Oh, the dotted line. Oh, it's dashed. You have dotted.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, dashed.
Yeah, dashed. Yeah. So you have solid, dashed, or dotted, and I like the dashed. Because I know this is a working area. It's a working area, right? It's my stuff, so everything is, that my working area is my stuff, So it's on the side. I put my quick find field here. I put the field I want there. And you can notice this one, just, this one is the parcel ID. It's this number. It's the number we have here, right? Right? So, but I want to be able to copy this because the customer needs that because he goes sometime on the website to visit, right, stuff for that parcel. So he doesn't want to, to go there, type, and note 0911. You don't want that. You want to click a button, you copy it. Okay. So to copy a field from the layout to do the copy stuff, right? The field needs to be, copy. The fields need to be on the layout. The field. But I don't have a field. I have a merge field, which is not copyable. We cannot copy it, the merge field. It needs to be a field that we can go in with this. And I don't want to have anywhere in my layout that field editable. I don't. Because if it's editable, you can modify it. So what we do, and the field needs to be on the layout, so I cannot put that field here. But I need it here, so I stretched it to touch the end of the layout. My layout finish at 1334. That field touch the left position is 1334. FileMaker will consider it in the layout, but it's not going to show in the layout just because it touched the limits. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm using for quick find, and at the same time, instead of doing like this, right, I stretched it like this, right? I'm stretching it, boom, as until it touched the end of the layout. Then now I can copy this field. You know, this copy here, copy can copy that field. Copy, copy like this, copy. Yeah. Right? So if we don't have any question, I'm going to, for 10, 15 minutes, we can continue, right?
Yep, no questions.
Okay. So, okay. I want to do my quick find, okay? So as we learn, I want nothing in my layout to do quick find. Absolutely nothing. I don't. Make sure I have none here, none here, none here. I have none. I'm good. So I'm going to replicate this, I'm going to copy this, right? This for later, right? And I will do, okay, I need the name first, right? I need the name last, right? The name last, where is the name last? Here. Maybe a phone number. I can just drag like this. Phone number, the middle name. We can put whatever we want here. The email, yeah, that's cool, the name goes by, we put all those, pretty much we can certificates, rating, status pilots, not the order, the status with the word, right? So we can do this, okay, we can put that. So I want to arrange those. So I'm going to show you something cool, right? I want to arrange those things, right? So I want the first name, the last name, I want the middle name. I want to arrange those things. I want the email, the status pilots, and the, oops, and I want what's the name? The phone and the status. I want to rearrange all of those things. So I'm going to select all of those things like they are like this, I'm selecting all of those. And I say, all aligned to the right, to the left, right? I want the width of the largest, and I want to space vertically. Boom. Right? So you use that tool. Left, width, arrange, like this, space, vertically, distribute vertically. So now they are very good. So, of course, I can remove the placeholder because that will never show up on the layout, never. So how to remove placeholders at once? Because here it says multiple and I cannot delete them, right? How? I want to do all of those and say, go away, right? I don't want to do one by one, okay? Select all. And I put 2 double quotes, validate, delete, validate. I redo. Yeah, you learned a lot of things today. Okay. I want to remove all at once all of those, all of those things, all of them, right? So here it doesn't let me do that. Double quotes, I validate. So now all of them has double quotes. And now that all of them have double quotes, because they all have the same placeholder, I can delete and I validate. Boom, gone. That's the same for the auto entry calculation. So let's say the auto entry the hide object, the hide condition. If I do this, it says the same thing. I cannot remove them. Double quotes, validate, delete double quote, boom. Right? Same thing for the tooltips, right? Same thing for the tooltip. You have one tooltip here, and you have another tooltip here, and you have another tooltip here, right? So if you select this, it will say, you cannot multiple, double quote, delete double quote, boom, gone. That's not cool? Ken, what do you think about it?
I like that. You could use almost anything instead of the double quote, though, couldn't you?
Just
put one in there, and then it would.
I think so. I think you can. Yeah, you can. I like the double quote because you know why? Because sometimes I'm so in the hurry, so you put one, and you have a phone call, you have somebody calling you. Okay, you have one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, with my double quotes, okay, I have something, but it's nothing.
It's nothing, right?
You understand? That's why I got screwed many times. So now I it's not my first rodeo, right? So that's why I use a double quote. But you're right. You can use whatever you want. Right?
So I have another question.
Yeah.
You put on that quick find first, middle, last goes by. You put 4 fields that are 4 pieces of the name. Since I already have a name first, last, where I've concatenated those. Based on your other conversation about searching 1 field versus 4, would that be a better solution here?
Okay, Ken, I'm worried because you're reading my mind, and
I'm just paying attention, man.
So don't read my mind tonight after 9 p.m., please.
Okay,
please. Okay. Give me some privacy. No, it's you're right. That's what I want to show, right? I was going there, So since we have a name first, last, right? So we can get rid of this. So we have 1 field that do their job, and that works perfectly and faster. We won't see when I say faster is when you search on millions of records that you will see the difference.
Right.
If you have 1,000, you will see, but it's like a fraction of a tenth of a second, right? But on millions of records, that makes a difference. Like instead of making like a 20 second, it will make like 12 second. That's a big difference, right? So yeah, you're right. So, but those are the field I want. So I'm selecting the field I want, and I'm including this in the quick find. I can see them; they are identifiable. And now I go browse mode and I look for Nick, and I will find it. Boom. So why I love the quick find so much? So why we say, Nick, why you love the quick find so much? Oh, because let's say I have here, I have Ken. I have Ken tool. Okay. And here I have Ken loot or tool. Okay. So see, I have many things. So now I want Ken. I want KE. Boom. Now I want, look this. So he finds part of the name. But now I want KETU. So I have them, all of them. Now I'm saying, I want KETU L and L, double L. Now it will go into to search the KE tool. If I say I want the KE like this, it said this. So you can use part of the names. You can say KE, TU. So on whatever you want, for example, here, right? Let's say here, I have an email, you know, nick@hunter.com. Okay. So I have my email here, right? So I want to do a search on this because I'm doing a search on the email, right? So I can, and here I have the same nick@hunter.com. You have the same email on those two. So if I say Nick, if I say Nick like this, it will find me. But if we find also this one because he found the Nick Hunter here, he found it here on twice because I have Nick, okay? But he found this one because I have this. But now, if I say Nick H, Tully goes off. Oh no, he found them. Yeah, because I have the Hunter here. Okay, Nick Hunter, you know, Hunt. It will find only me. No. Because I have there, yeah, okay, I need to find another example. But you understand what I mean? So it finds part of the, so if I say, for example, let me try something here. Let me duplicate that Ken tool, and I'm putting Ken tool with the font 300, and this one, Ken tool with the font 200, right? So I'm saying, okay, so Ken tool, we have the same Nick. So I'm saying Nick, okay, he found Nick. All, but if I say Nick and the 300, it will find only one, right? Because that's the one. So you can see, you can use the quick find is so powerful. It's so powerful, right? That's it's you know what I mean. It's very, very powerful, and I can show you something. I will show as I'm going. I'm going to show you how the quick find can be super fast, super efficient. For example, we have some time. It's okay. Here I have two. They're all two, right? So how I can change the 6? Okay. I want this one. I want this name. So let's remove the 4. Okay. So I want this name multiple time, right? Okay. And I want my quick find to always find the valid people, you know, the valid people. So how I can change, I put that valid, what is 1? Oh yeah, it's yeah, I need to.
It's based, those things are based on stuff in a different different.
Yeah. Okay, it's okay. I want the check data. You know, I want to find those on check data. So that's the status pilot, right? I have the status pilot here, right? I modify my quick find. So this is a hard coding modified quick find, but we can make it, you know, in a different way, right? So I said, yes, I want my quick find to look the field here, to pick the text inside that field, right? Inside that field, pick the text on this to search, but I want something else. I want this. So now I'm saying, yes, quick find, do a search on whatever I put there, but add this text also in the search. So, right, now my quick find, whatever I will do here, I have many Kenneth, right? Even if I said this, it will find only the one with check data. Always. Always. You understand? Because they check data. So if we quick find is value driven. So it would have been the same thing. It would have been the same thing than doing this. So let's yeah. Let's remove this, right? But I want to copy this. I remove this. So now, if I look for Kenneth, I will have all the Kenneth because I removed. If I do this again, I will have all the Kenneth. Boom. Because I don't have the constraint of the check data. It would have been the same of doing this. I need to modify the field. Because quick find is capable of doing this. And that's why I love it so much. Because it's super powerful. You know, you can do a multi-criteria search in one freaking field. You know, is doing a quick find like this. Kenneth check data, so it will find those two, boom, that only one that match this. But instead of doing this, I'm including the whatever I want. So it could be, look. I'm going to create a global field, right? And I will call that quick find filter. Okay. My global field, boom, right? It's a global. It needs to be a global, right? So now I have my filter, right? So what I'm going to do here, first, I'm going to add that field on the layout, then I can edit it, right? So Ken, you know where I'm going, right? No?
I think so.
Okay. So in that field, I want, for example, to attach a menu, and I want those where are those check data? Oh, here, right?
The pilot one.
Or the pilot one. Yeah. Okay, but do I have the status? Do I have the status pilot under? Is it that the status pilot I have here? Yeah. So that's my filter, right? That's my filter. So here I have my filter. Okay. For example, the design is piece of, we don't care. And I'm saying, okay, you know what? In my stuff here, let's add list, and I'm going to add this quick find search filter. Oh, okay. So now I have a easy to use, super good. So here, I have nothing here. I'm looking for Kenneth. Oh, I need to reinstall the carriage return because I want the carriage return to trigger the script, right? Otherwise, you add a line in the box, which is not what we want. So return. Okay. So now, so I'm putting Kenneth. So let's show all of them. Okay. All of them. Okay. So I'm putting Kenneth. I have all of them. Now I'm going there and I say check data. Boom. Like by magic. What? So do I get emojis? You know, maybe people now I'm doing that. The emoji you should get. I like emojis. I don't know why. You get that emoji, right? That the emoji you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's so you can imagine you can add as many stuff you want, right? So, but that's why I don't like to use, that's why I like to use UUIDs for everything. Because imagine that somebody, I'm making up because that's impossible, but imagine somebody, his name is check data. I have somebody in my club of balloon, his name is check data. That's his name. So he will find it. You know what I mean? You cannot rely on names, right? You find it.
Yeah.
Right? So, but more likely or not valid, right? The guy that name is not valid, poor guy. But you understand what I mean? So, but if you have an advanced one, if you want an advanced one, you need that to be text, but to return IDs. Then you're sure. There's no question asked. Imagine that you look for something like this. You look for a UUID. Imagine this. It's impossible to have a guy with the same name as this, right? So that technique of filtering is super freaking amazing. But if you have 2 million records, start to be slow. You cannot work on this. But if you have 100,000, 10,000, 15,000, right? So here, for example, that's the technique I'm using here in that field, in that database. I'm zooming, so I've zoomed in, and it's kind of super slow, and kind of super slow, and so I have 17,000 records. So I have multiple records. I have out of all of those, all of those. So I have a lot of things. So I'm typing Nick. So this is the speed I have on 17,000 records. So, right? Not that bad, right? When you get multiple criteria like this, because I have criteria like this, so it's not that bad at all. And I have Zoom and I have everything, right? So it's if you have a question, we can go with the question. Otherwise, we can, and of course, if before I go, if I clear this, right? Of course, now I have all the can, right? So you can include the clear here that include this, and that's it. Oh, I can do, we can stay a week with this, but tomorrow, next week it's a good technique. Who learned something today? Who is okay? First question: who learned something, and who is going to use that on Discord? Go.
Well, me, and I'm on the Zoom side, but
Marge, do we have where's Marge? We lost Marge.
Lots of I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lots of wonderful insight snippets today. Thanks, Nick. We have a Yoda gift that says "Learning am I?" and people are seconding that. Yeah, no, everyone is saying they could use this.
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, it's super because it's just a minute. The implementation is simple. Okay, because I didn't talk about that, and then you can use it. You can spend your weekend playing with this. I know you will do. So we have so you have on object save. Forget about the exit for now. On object save, on save. Okay, you have a script, very simple, right? That do this. Perform quick find, taking the script parameter. So the script parameter is, you have the list of the global field to search where you type and the global field for the filter. And you say if the get/error is 4.1, that means, nothing. 4.1 is it found nothing. Show the dialog search, no record found. If it's 400, that means if this is empty. If you have no criteria here, if it's empty, right, it says show all records. So then you have this technique, you have this behavior. You have the true quick find behavior that even FileMaker wasn't capable of doing. Because FileMaker, if you say Nick here, right, you have Nick, but if you blank, you stay. You can't get or show all, right? No, I want this behavior. I put can, and if I blank this and I do carry return on blank, I want all. That's what I want. So that's how you use the get errors, right? So all the 400 errors. So you go to FileMaker help, you go to the errors, right? And you will see that all the 400 errors are all about search, missing, impossible to find, not related, stuff like this. 400, all the 400. Okay, so questions and we go.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so
yeah. So in that case, I'm gonna wrap it.
enjoy your weekend, and I'm going to the beach.
Enjoy that, Nick. Come tomorrow for image editing with the Monkey Bread plugin.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm coming tomorrow because that's interesting me. I have a customer that's looking for that.
Oh, well, hey. Feel free to stop by.
Okay, I will.
Bye.
I will sneak in. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Nick.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!